Straight from the enlistment office to the Meatgrinder, a Russian officer says his own command just got orders to receive mobilized troops by September 21st. No training centers mentioned at all.
Enlistment office to Meatgrinder. That's the path one Russian officer says his own command is preparing for, and if it's true, it says something disturbing about how the Kremlin now treats its own people. The claim comes from a Telegram channel called Officer at the Front, run by someone identifying as a serving officer. He posted what he says is an order passed down from the headquarters of the 1st Tank Army. By September 21st, 2026, prepare to receive mobilized personnel, arrange housing, submit requests for weapons and supplies, and be ready to distribute them to units on strict deadlines. Nothing unusual in that bureaucratic language, until you notice what's missing. No mention of training centers, no mention of preparation time, just intake and dispatch. The officer's own reaction is the most telling part. He says the plan seems to be pulling men straight from enlistment offices and sending them into combat units in the war zone, bypassing training entirely, timed to land right after Russia's elections. And what, he asks, are we supposed to train them ourselves in the field? Because nobody above him is going to ask whether the personnel are ready. The order will simply say, you have men, send them in. That single post can't be verified as an authentic document on its own, but it lands inside a pattern that independent reporting has already confirmed. Medusa, citing 8 separate sources inside Russia's presidential administration and security services, reported back in June that the Kremlin is actively weighing a new mobilization wave, with October floated as a possible start date, precisely because voluntary contract enlistment has collapsed. Sign-ups fell 50% year over year, and by early this year, Russia was recruiting only about 800 people a day, the slowest pace in 3 years. Separately, Ukraine's president has told the public, citing his own military intelligence, that Russia is preparing to mobilize several 100,000 more men immediately after this September's parliamentary elections, precisely so the vote can be finished before the backlash begins. Put those pieces together and the officer's complaint stops sounding like an isolated rant. It sounds like a symptom. Russia's population has been shrinking for years, and every mobilized man pulled from a job, a family, a birth rate that was already among the lowest in Europe deepens a demographic hole the country won't climb out of for generations. Sending them into combat without training doesn't just risk more deaths on the battlefield, it risks making that hole permanent. What a maneuver. A Ukrainian MiG-29 closed in on an incoming Shahed-type drone and created a sudden pressure disturbance ahead of its nose. The resulting airflow disruption caused the drone's engine to stall, taking the Shahed out of the fight without a direct hit. Pure aviation skill. It's rather incredible that Russians think it's up to them, rather than Ukraine, to decide whether Ukraine will want to have any kind of future relationship with their barbaric country. The men speaking are Andrei Norkin, the host, and journalist Maxim Yusin.
So tell me, why on earth should I even bother trying to fix things with these absolute bastards? I mean, look at them. It is just a completely rotten bastard society through and through. And yet, on the other hand, I suppose I do understand that things have a way of changing over time. You know what I mean? Well, I honestly believe that the toxic poison that has been allowed to seep into the very heart of Ukrainian society today is something that you simply cannot take back or undo. I mean, as one very intelligent woman describes the situation, I cannot mention her name just yet, unfortunately, because she is officially labeled a foreign agent. She says that a Galicia from the river to the sea is exactly what Ukraine has constructed now. So, a minority ideology, the ideology of maybe 15%, is being forced and has been successfully forced on society. Even if someone disagrees deep down, they can't say it publicly because there'll be immediate pressure. Activists and nationalist battalions will show up at your door and force you to offer a public apology. Just look at how many of these cases there actually are. Someone speaks out from what seems like a perfectly normal position, perhaps just defending common sense, the Russian language, or specific people who are being targeted. Then they arrive, force them down onto their knees, and compel them to apologize.
Liev Schreiber visited Kyiv. He is standing in front of the site of a Russian terrorist attack yesterday.
This is the Solomyansky district. That's a school in the background. What it highlights for me is the real and genuine need for missile defense, Patriots, etc., whatever it takes to stop these kinds of munitions and missiles from getting through. You can see there's a lot of destruction here. 15 people died last night, and I think 40-something are injured, and that'll probably grow. I guess that I struggle with the most is the targeting. One of the targets last night was also a pediatric hospital. And as you can see here, on either side of this parking lot is civilian housing. That's a school right there. And I mean, it's so clearly an attack designed to hit civilians. It certainly brings up the question of missile defense and how essential that is. And that's something that that America used to provide. Hopefully we can figure out how to get that program going again. Shelter. Okay, where?
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.